A journal to help support Māori history taught in schools has just been launched. Te Pouhere Kōrero 10 is written by a collective of established Māori historians and follows the reset of the history curriculum, which is now officially implemented across all New Zealand schools for years 1 through to 10. Waipapa Taumataro Associate Professor Dr. Aroha Harris no Te Raroa Ngāpuhi is a member of the historians group Te Pouhere Kōrero, and she's with us now. Tēnā koe, Professor. Thank you for joining us.
Kia ora, tēnā koe.
Now, for the first time in Aotearoa, New Zealand, the histories, te takanga o te wā, is being taught in all kura in New Zealand. How will the journal help to address the gaps in the curriculum that's been taught for decades?
Yeah, maybe not so much to address gaps in the curriculum, but perhaps gaps in what's possible or gaps in teachers and schools thinking about the curriculum and what they could potentially do, and how Māori approaches to the past, Māori thinking about the past might be beneficial for everybody, no matter what kind of history they're dealing with at any given point.
Why do you think it's critical that this kind of resource is researched and produced by those who better understand the history of Aotearoa through a Māori lens?
I think Māori history has a lot to offer in terms of thinking very broadly about sources, that sources sometimes aren't just written on paper, sometimes they're sung, sometimes they're artistic, sometimes they're other kinds of creative expressions, and that those might be called sources again. I think Māori history encourages us to think very locally, which works, I think, with iwi as well for the schools in the area. And Māori history encourages us to think about how we belong in a place and how we belong to communities and our relationships with those communities. And I think those are all great tools that Māori history can offer to a really broad curriculum.
Perhaps, Professor Harris, we have to expect, I guess, that there must be the odd teacher uncertain about how they teach Māori and iwi history. What do you say to them to help support their mahi and better utilise this resource?
Yeah, I think that we have those teachers, whether we have a refreshed and compulsory curriculum or not. I think we have teachers who might be a little fearful, and I think there are some good examples around the country. I know that some of the Ngaitahu, the kura and the Ngaitahu territory are working closely with iwi. Not all iwi are ready, set up, ready to go and hold hands with all the schools in their territories, but we live in a digital age now, and many iwi have wonderful websites or have produced online material, for example, with the Ministry for Culture and Heritage. So you can access sources and resources if you want to. And I guess a simple way, and this is something that one of the authors, Melissa Williams, suggests, is to just think about the community that you're in. If you're a teacher, think about who are the people in your community, who are the iwi whose territory you're on, and just think deeply, carefully, thoroughly about that before embarking on your teaching project.
Well, talk us through Te Pouhere Kōrero, the collective, and how it came to be. How important is it for ensuring the correct histories of Aotearoa are taught to tamariki?
Yeah, I think so. It's a fairly old group. Our origins go back to the 1990s, and we had some now senior people among us then, people like Danny Keenan and people who've since passed, like Manuka Henare and Media Simpson. And initially, the group was about creating a safe place for Māori who were into history to get together and debate and, share our ideas and that kind of thing. And the curriculum, I guess a few of us were involved with it in different ways in the drafting and in the critiquing of it. And so we thought, well, we're due to produce another journal, and maybe we should make it our first themed journal and make it about the curriculum. We thought the opportunity was there, and was an opportunity for us to actually give generously, I hope, and give some criticism and some suggestions as well.
Beautiful, love it. Waipapa Taumatarau Associate Professor Dr. Aroha Harris, thank you so much for joining us today and for the work you're doing to ensure our tamariki are taught the complete history of Aotearoa. Ngā mihi.